Welcome back to Ink and Insights, your space for exploring timeless literary traditions and their lasting influence. In today's video, we'll explore the Italian sonnet tradition and how it was adopted and transformed in English literature. This journey takes us from Renaissance Italy to Elizabethan England, revealing how poetic forms travel across cultures and evolve with time. Before we dive into history, let's begin with a simple question. What exactly is a sonnet? A sonnet is a 14-line poem, traditionally written in iambic meter, known for its emotional intensity and structured elegance. Sonnets often explore themes such as love, beauty, mortality, and the passage of time. But while the form may seem fixed, its structure and tone have changed significantly across literary traditions. The sonnet first flourished in 13th century Italy, a refined poetic form associated with courtly love and philosophical reflection. Italian poets developed a structured and musical style, emphasizing harmony, clarity, and emotional depth. The most influential figure was Petrarch, whose love poems shaped the course of European poetry. His sonnets, addressed to a beloved woman, explored themes of unattainable love, spiritual longing, and inner conflict. Italian sonnets followed a distinct structure, an octave presenting a problem, followed by a sestet offering resolution. This shift between the two parts is known as the volta, or turn, a defining feature of the Petrarchan sonnet. The rhyme scheme was distinctive, commonly abba in the octave, with flexible variations in the sestet. This tightly woven structure gave Italian sonnets a lyrical and contemplative quality. Petrarch's influence extended far beyond Italy. His poetic style became a model for writers across Europe. Themes of idealized love, distant admiration, and emotional paradox became hallmarks of the Petrarchan tradition. The beloved was often portrayed as perfect yet unattainable, an embodiment of beauty and virtue. The poet appeared conflicted, caught between earthly desire and spiritual aspiration. This emotional tension gave the sonnet its enduring depth and universality. The sonnet entered English literature during the early Renaissance as scholars and poets translated Italian works. This cultural exchange brought classical learning and continental forms into English literary life. English poets faced a challenge. Italians' flexible rhymes were hard to replicate in English. English, with its rigid phonetic structure, required modification of the sonnet form. English poets adapted the Italian sonnet, leading to new structural innovations. This adaptation preserved the emotional core of the tradition while transforming its structure. One of the most important developments was the emergence of a new structure, later known as the English or Shakespearean sonnet. Instead of dividing the poem into an octave and sestet, English poets organized sonnets into 3 quatrains and a final rhyming couplet. The rhyme scheme also changed, often following the pattern ABABCDCDFGG. This format suited the English language better and allowed poets greater flexibility in argument and imagery. While the Italian sonnet emphasized meditation and introspection, the English sonnet often felt more dramatic and rhetorical, building momentum toward a striking final line. Despite these structural changes, English poets retained many elements of the Italian tradition. Themes of love, time, beauty, and mortality remained central. The influence of Petrarch's emotional intensity continued to shape English poetic expression. However, English writers also expanded the scope of the sonnet. They explored friendship, political themes, philosophical reflections, and even self-referential commentary on poetry itself. This evolution transformed the sonnet from a courtly love poem into a versatile literary form. The adoption of the Italian sonnet into English literature demonstrates how literary forms evolve through cultural exchange. Rather than simply imitating Italian models, English poets reshaped the sonnet to suit their language, audience, and artistic goals. This process reflects a broader Renaissance pattern, borrowing from classical and continental traditions while creating something uniquely local. The English sonnet is therefore not a copy, but a reinvention. It shows how literature thrives through adaptation. When forms travel across borders, they gain new meanings, structures, and possibilities. The influence of the Italian sonnet tradition did not end in the Renaissance. Its legacy continues in modern poetry, where writers still experiment with the sonnet form while honoring its historical roots. Contemporary poets may bend the rules of rhyme and metre, but the essence of the sonnet remains alive. The enduring appeal of the sonnet lies in this balance between tradition and innovation. From Italian courts to English stages and modern poetry collections, the sonnet has proven to be one of the most adaptable and resilient forms. In conclusion, the Italian sonnet tradition laid the foundation for one of the most influential poetic forms in Western literature. Through cultural exchange and creative adaptation, English poets transformed the Petrarchan model into a new and dynamic tradition. This journey from Italy to England reminds us that literature is never static. It evolves, travels, and transforms, shaped by language, culture, and imagination. By understanding the roots of the sonnet and its transformation in English literature, we gain deeper insight into how poetic forms carry both history and innovation within their lines. If you enjoyed this exploration of the Italian sonnet tradition and its influence on English literature, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Ink and Insights for more deep dives into literary history, poetic forms, and timeless ideas.